recently in October. Of course, you know, somebody hit somebody. Is it on?
Yeah, you
oh, it's on? So somebody hit somebody. The other person hit us. So it just bust out the back lights. You know, we got a little bump up. Of course, you know, we hurt like hell. Oh, man. We hurt, man. I went through 6 weeks of physical therapy. You know, learn how to walk again. Hurt, boy. I laid on the table for 6 weeks. The key is now, don't go to the chiropractor. I mean, that's cool, but go to a doctor. Because that's what the insurance companies is dealing with that now. So, but it was interesting. When we got there, they took my blood pressure. And they said, this thing is very high. And the spirit told me then that it's high based on the Kundalini energy. Because, you know, I don't smoke or whatever the type thing is and all. I could lose some doggone weight. Which I started doing and all because I was drinking a whole lot of beer at night. But since I'm not addicted, I'm like you, Bossy. I just say, hell, I just stopped drinking it. You know, that's it, you know, and it never affected me. As a matter of fact, I was drinking some wine back in '96 and I just forgot about it one day and woke up 2 months later and said, damn, I ain't had no wine in 2 months. So my point is, if you don't have an addicted nature, it doesn't really affect you. But what happened was, I knew that it had to be something else. I knew it had to be something else. So, anyway, they took it one day. The next 2 days later, I just told the blood system to slow down. And 2 days later, it was down, you see. So then they took it again. And I said, wait a minute, this is going on. And they took it the second time. It was real high. This was about a month later. And the woman that was up in there was a lady from Cuba, and she's a psychic. She said, you know, I don't say things around people because people, you know, they get all spooked out. She would say, you ain't got high blood pressure. And all right. But although she was the one to take it, she said, you don't have it. And I said, I know what it is. I said, but still yet, you know. I asked, I said, so this time I just meditated and actually slowed the heart down. Last time I slowed the blood system down, I slowed the heart down. And when they came back to that, it's like, man, this shit here is non-existent, man. You ain't got no pulse, man. Your shit's so low. So it also goes to say that in actuality, everything is mind over matter. Everything is mind over matter, and that was one of those things also. It was interesting because the other day I was in the Chinese place. I paid the phone bill, I paid the light bill, paid the gas bill. So that left me with damn $3. Left me with $3 and stuff. So I went in the Chinese place, and I said, damn, I want this. I said, I want to get these wings here, but I don't want to. I said, shoot, I need me another thing to get me a cup of coffee across the street. And I was thinking about it hard. I said, oh well, I'm getting these wings here. You know, I was thinking about it real hard. And the man I gave him $3, and he handed me back $3. And I walked out the door. I said, damn, I got $3. Of course, I ain't going back up in there in them Chinese mugs. You know, shit, the hell with them. I ain't that honest. You know, if it was a sister, I said, okay, you know, I'll go back. You know, I don't want you to have to put $3 back in the cash at the end, but the hell with them Chinese.
That's right.
You know, and them Asians and shit, like you said, they don't give you bags and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of them, you know, handing you money and not saying thank you, so the hell with them. So, but my point is, we're talking about the psychological aspect of it's becoming more and more, the energy is becoming more and more that you can basically do more with your minds with this crossover than you could do just 2-3 years ago. Also, too. You see what I'm saying? So that's a part of it also, too. We got one last initiation thing that we got to tap into. We've gone through the last 2 years of the dark side. We did 2 years of the dark side, which also was very helpful because it helped eliminate all the things that we were fearful of. And if those people who is hearing me for the first time never experienced those things, just get any of the tapes from the last 2 years, especially. Also, just about the majority of the stuff done in Trenton. Because when I first came was actually in '98, was entering into this dark side to eliminate all things that was fearful, and understand that we're talking about no different than energy, and so this will always be a theme that we'll deal with. But now we are bordering on the final threshold. The final threshold of this whole concept is death. That's the key now. That's what we're going to be focusing on. If we get to the millennium, we're going to be focusing on this death thing. I think that is the greatest fear known to the Western mind, and because now we are Western people, we are scared, more scared than anybody. But in Hemmitt, all they dealt with was death. That was the whole key to the whole society, is to deal with this death issue and mapped out a whole system of death, which in actuality is the ultimate dimension. So Hemmitt dealt with this entire death issue. It's interesting that later on, by the time we get to the entire Hebrew aspect, the Hebrews started viewing death as evil. As a matter of fact, the angel of death would later on be known as Satan. But the angel of death ultimately is Osiris, which I mentioned to you before. The movie Meet Joe Black dealt with that whole issue. You know, Anthony Hopkins was, you know, big time businessman and all, but he had to bow down when death came and all, you know, and had him as acting as the nigger, and death was pulling the strings. So this whole thing was turned around in the latter part of the ancient world, and the whole death thing became something that is feared. They've always had fears on death, but the Judeo-Christian model put the emphasis on death being something that's never to be experienced, and basically also dealing with confusion, because it's like that old saying, everybody want to get to heaven, but nobody want to die. Yeah. You see, so nobody wants to die. So, and as we said in Isaiah, what's that? Isaiah 22?
Oh, Matthew 22:31.
Is it Matthew? Yeah, Matthew 27. 22:31. Matthew 22:31. I am the God of the living and not the dead. So the Hebrew thing is the God of the living and not the dead. But if death is inevitable, and you got the God Lord over the dead, that means you got to be a very subordinate deity, when ultimately, hell, we got living figured out. Just pay your motherfucking damn rent. Wash your car, wash your ass. I mean, you know, even if you bumming out here, you know to go bum 4 or 5 quarters an hour to get you some food. So the living realm is already figured out on the lowest aspect, whether you living in the street or whether you just living in a doggone glass palace. We got the living figured out. So we don't need no motherfucking God for the living. Ultimately, we need the God for the dead. But the Hebrew God is not the God of the dead. The God of the dead is Osiris, also known as Usa, Uzzah in other Hebrew material as Satan. You see what I'm saying? So all this stuff is turned around. As I was saying about these role-playing games, this is the Tribunals of Hermes, Iberia. And basically what this is, it says it is a guide to the war-torn lords of Spain. So basically what you got here is, this is an entire book on the Moors. It's an entire book on the Moors that they put up in the in the role-playing games, and like I told you, the comic book section in these comic book stores, and also they have role-playing games also at Borders Books, also too. This is published by White Wolf Publishing Company. The Moors are an incredible people. They do you not think? They are furious warriors for one thing, and I bet if they had a decent leader to pull them together, we would be speaking Arabic in Barcelona within 1 year. As it is, the Moors are just being beaten back because of the Christian armies is ganging up on the individual Moorish armies. And they say the losses of the Moors are not due to poor fighting ability. What are we talking about now? Yes, the Moors. You know they are the greatest warriors. They are probably the most intelligent people in the world. Outside of the orders of Hermes. Well, the orders of Hermes, if it's in Europe now, it's started by the Moors. You got to understand the history. They may be tied with the Jews. There it is again, showing you that these people is the one that converted the white Jews into Spain, you know, into Judaism, you know what I'm saying? So they literally tell you this. Now this is in the comic book stores. You know, these new numbers, which are different numerical than all other numbers, 1 to 9, and plus the numbers that meaning nothing, which is 0. So they're even saying that the whole 1 to 9 thing even came up by the Moors. So they're giving you all the history. It says the numerals are Moorish. There you go. The Moors have some of the best mathematics, philosophers, architects, and doctors in the world. And sometimes I think the orders of Hermes need to pack everything up and move to Africa so we can take advantage of the Moorish mind. And this is a comic book. Now, one of the keys to this whole 1,000-year millennium thing is there's two things that they're keeping out of history. One is slavery, and the other is the history of the Moors that educated these crackers. See what's going down? And they're keeping all of this out of history. You see. Now, it's interesting because the only tape that we have that gives you a documented analogy of slavery we got several books, but the only one we have in media is this movie called Uncle Tom. It was made in the 1970s by some Italians. And they made this particular movie, and it might have been released about a week and they banned it. Or it could have played all over Europe. Anyway, we got a bit of information on it. When the videos came out, they basically took it and put it on video, and they put it in the United States amongst white people. See, that's the thing about white people. Fuck them. They are not your friends.
That's right. I'll say.
See, whether you like this shit or not, they're not your friends.
Tell the truth.
You see, and so I know this sounds kind of horrible now because we got black people acting so much like fools now. You see what I'm saying? And the majority of the people that you come across in your daily life, man, that get on your doggone nerves is black people.
That's right.
Acting like idiots.
That's right.
I mean, we are the worst humans on the planet now.
Straight up.
God damn it. When you think about our potential, see the white boy, you might say what you might want to say about the white boy, but he's been a rebel without a pause, as Khaled would say. It's not like he changed his fucking stripes or his stripes. You basically, what you see with the white boy is what you get. But we're talking about black people that have so much potential and still fail to be these no good ass people.
That's right.
So, but then again, that's all prophecy. And I'll explain that also too, so don't get so disturbed. But one of the keys here is these people have all kind of information on us and don't even release it. Well, probably one white boy, every now and then the spirit will hit one, and they gave the tape to some black people in Atlanta. And I got it from Clemson Brown in New York, and this was a movie where they go, I mean, it's detailed. So, what should we do? You wanna ship them a copy? You think? That way they can get it in yeah. Ship it to Debbie and them right here in Trenton. And that way we can they can have it, and then they can get it out to the people here. You see what I'm saying? They can get it out to the people here. And basically, I mean, this is unbelievable. All the way to the breeding form. They talk about how they can mix colors like an artist mix colors on a coloring palette. From light to dark. And something that ain't black, something that ain't white, they say a masterpiece. So we're not talking about, we are different hues, not just by, huh? The Jesuits. The order, which is the Catholicism and that whole 9 yards. And what it's saying here is the hues that we have, different various hues, is not by accident. It's not like, we just came out a certain way. Because if you notice, most of the white black people now, when they have children by white people, it be the same look.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
You know what I'm saying? The sandy, curly hair. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And, it's one look. But how is it that we got various hues? And what they're saying in this movie is all that is a work of art. It was a science to that. So they had breeding farms where they bred, they call them brood mares. And the women were called wenches, and the children were called pups. winches and pups. And they said, this one here give me 2 sets of pups a year, because this woman was, her specialty was having twins. It wasn't by her, you know, it just fell that way genetically. And so basically they gave them $1 a pup. And so they bred these breeding farms. Now one of the things also that need to be mentioned is they showed how the black man and the black woman's relationship come to a point where psychologically they can turn both against each other. Now what they did with the black woman is you must understand this. This whole thing about everybody was just fertile. No, most of the slaves were castrated. So they only had a certain ones to be breeded a certain way. Now, they show you the type of person that bred. They had one named Jason, and he couldn't even talk. He was like a monster. Just like a monster. And they would put a woman in there, and he would go like a wild dog, and basically was nothing shorter than rape. So now, psychologically, if the only sex that the woman came across in slavery was a brutal rape, then psychologically, she can look towards the black man as this vicious animal. Number one, they made sure that they didn't wash him. Now, there's an excellent piece in the movie where this black girl is 13 and she's going to get into bed with the slave master. And she's saying, please don't turn me away. I like you, I like the slave master because you're all small and it don't hurt me. The black man, oh, don't give me no black man, he too big. You see what I'm saying? Plus, you probably figure, hell, he real big in the first incident, her first experience with this black person, and he's not trained in the art of love making. He's only trained in getting his rocks off with a virgin. You see what I'm saying? And somebody train you that basically you screw somebody like a hog or a horse. You see what I'm saying? And so-called, you can psychologically damage the female based on all this type of stuff. So what it was is she's saying, no, the black man, he too big, he hurt me. Then she said, and he said, ooh, and the black man, he smells something awful. But you smell clean, master. So this is all a part of that. All this stuff is taken from literal slave documents.
Yeah, that's what that guy Jason did to that girl, because he told him, if I send her no Jason, he's going to tear her up.
See, she said, I want Jason, because Jason is about 6'5", all muscle. And she said, I want Jason to see. He was like, man, that girl is a virgin. She said, Jason will split her in two. He said, I don't care. And so they said, well, it's at your own risk. And Jason went in there and they locked her up, and Jason, just like a monster. You see? Just like a monster. So they showed all this type of stuff. They showed the slave ships where they, if you didn't eat, they would take a chisel and file and bust out your teeth so they could put a funnel down there and pour it down your mouth. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's just tons and tons of things. I mean, it's hideous. The slave camp, the process. They even mentioned that religion keeps the slave docile. You see, all this is in the actual movie. So we got some in Philadelphia. And so this is the key. Now, this is what separates adults from children. It is known that let us make a slave, which this movie makes Willie Lynch shit look like doggone Disney World. It makes Sankofa look like Saturday Morning Special. And Roots just look like doggone, a Sunday go to meeting thing. But let us make a slave was to let us make a child. You see what I'm saying? So, we got black people in Atlanta that's fighting against watching this damn tape. And see, the problem is I tell people it's therapeutic. It doesn't matter how horrible it is. You need to see this, to understand the kind of world we live in. If you take a people, anybody tell you that psychologically, we have to go through psychological conditioning to break the chains and image of slavery, well, what do you think about the white man? That means in actuality that the system that he's brought about, no matter how well we think it functions for us, because we've been beat down to that level, if he didn't get psychological help for what he did, he's the same person. Psychosis does not go away.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And we know that damn sure don't go away based on genealogy and offspring. You see, so my point is you must know the aspect of what's going on, and black people need to fight against, we understand it's horrible, and we are all emotional. But some things you have to deal with. So I was having this argument with this sister from Cuba. Oh, we don't need to see all of that. That's the past. And I say, now, wait a minute. You don't even question fucking Schindler's List.
Amen.
You don't question Schindler's List. They got one called It's a Beautiful Life that came out. A comedy. This guy got locked up in the concentration camp. It won the Academy Award for this year. They got another one on this way coming out in the next, I got it in here. In the next, I think they got another one coming out. In the next week or so. This work. It's called The Train of Life, where they got this fake Nazi train to transport these people out of Germany. They build them a train, and they get on Nazi uniforms, and so that they can go out of Germany and transport all these Jews out of Germany by putting them a fake train, a Nazi train, the train that actually transports. And I'm like, they have these movies time and time, year after year, coming out on this little 6-year incident that happened. That most of it was hooked up. Right. It was Jews was a part of it. It's the greatest hoax of 20th century.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to make is we don't question that. But when it comes to us opening up our history, you understand what I'm saying? Then we question that. So I say, like I say still, when it comes to white people, I ain't signed no goddamn peace treaty. Because I cannot stand, and we can stand and say, they come with that old, we are equal now shit. No. But if we are equal, you need to lay our history on the table, and you need to stop concealing the shit that you have conspired against me. Right. So you can't say that we are equal. No. And you conspired against me at one point, and you still conceal that. If you conceal that, that is just as bad as the act.
That's right.
I don't give a damn if it was 150 years or 130 years ago. That's not the point. They still conceal things today, but my point is in order for you to even understand a conspiracy that's going on in this system, you need to understand how this damn devil is. You see, so I don't even get into all that. I ain't signed no peace treaty with the cracker and all, because the simple fact, I see when he opened up this thing with the millennium, they had about 10 specials on. CNN had one, A&E had one, ABC had one, and I ain't talking about what they had on cable. But the point I'm trying to make here is the greatest Holocaust known to man is slavery, and they didn't say nothing about it, and it happened in this millennium. You see? And so all of a sudden this tape comes down, and we get a glimpse into what we already knew, most conscious people, based on certain books, and basically you can imagine. But for the only one that we have in media, in cinema, is this particular tape that is unbelievable. And now we got black people fighting, don't want to see it, but that's what, let us make a slave is let us make a child. And a child, you have to force a child to take responsibility for something. You see what I'm saying? Because a child goes on 98% emotion. It only goes on what it first feels, and that's what black people do. If a feeling comes up, I don't want to feel it, I walk all out the damn room. So therefore, we got to break that particular cycle also, too. You see? Also, too, what I'm going to also get into today is anger is good.
Yes.
Anger is good. Because a lot of the stuff we get on the metaphysical thing based on, calm the nerve and all that shit comes from the yogi system. Right. And the yogi system is a later day system in India, was put in place to cover up the Vedic system. The Vedic system, where the Christ in the Vedic system, which is the Horus of India, is Rudra, Shiva, and even Vishnu, but Rudra and Shiva, which is the original form of theirs, their particular Christ, which is nothing but Horus or Heru in Egypt. He completes his doomsday act of cleaning up the entire universe and killing the gods with a certain anger that turns into a certain destructive doomsday fire. So the key is to keep your ass, you see what I'm saying, emotionally messed up. Now, see, most of the stuff we got on the protest out here, we don't really get angry, we get emotional. And that's the difference. You see what I'm saying? We're talking about a directed anger of sound mind. You understand what I'm saying? Not saying, oh, why you white people did this to me? I want to be included. I can't work on my job, y'all. I ain't talking that bullshit. I'm talking about a motherfucker that's no good, and you you're doing something about the shit. You see. We'll get into that particular stuff. We got that all documented too. So that's a good part about what we deal with. We got it all documented, and I'm gonna get into some of that also. And I'm gonna give you a book to read also. But these are some things that's also they're still concealing all this particular historical things up to the last day. You see. Now, few things that's going on. They announced Monday. This is all a part of the millennium. You got to understand the science. There are things. When they do things at a certain date, it is strategic. When you say they could have done that in 1975. They could have done that in 1970. They could have done that in 1985. They could have done that in 1988. Anytime that they do something that's major, right before the millennium, that means that it is a calculated, strategic move to do a certain thing. Now, they came up with this whole Martin Luther King thing on Monday. Now, fucking everybody and their grandmama know that shit was a conspiracy from the get-go. And you don't even have to ponder that shit in your mind. Everybody, you can't meet a fool out here on the street. You come up to, they wouldn't tell you that was a conspiracy. I mean, anybody with common sense knows that. You understand what I'm saying? But the point is first of all, we can't function without the government telling us stuff. We always got to get the government to document for us. We should have held court on this shit in 1968. Found the motherfucker guilty and dealt with it that way. If we are world-class people, you don't need to crack the whole court for you. But that's a child, always needing the parents to validate shit. You see what I'm saying? And you know, it was interesting because I was in the movie talking about this slave thing. And one brother said, we ain't gonna never do that shit. And I said, well, I happen to know this as far as us acting a certain way on the physical. I said, but I want to get your conclusion on why did you say that? And the guy said, because we were bred that way. See, we don't think of our psychological conditioning is a form of breeding, not a tragedy, as a form. We think of it, even in the Afrocentric community, when we try to deal with this, we always deal with it as these are the chains and images of psychological slavery as the tragedy. This is what occurred. You see, this is the result of what occurred in the tragedy. But we don't rule out. We never tap into the point, or we never perceive the fact that we were bred a certain way. So that's why the white boy don't worry about shit now. He knows in 1999 that we bred them in a system. No matter how advanced they get, they still are bred to basically a survival level. You see, a survival level. We were bred a certain way. You see, so therefore they understand that the way with the Martin Luther King getting killed in 1968 or Malcolm X in 65, they understand there's a certain way that we're going to behave towards that. Including when they make the decision now in 1999, they know there's a certain way that we're going to behave towards that. First thing we did is we got all happy. Because they got them old Uncle Tom King niggas up there, the King family. It's obvious, isn't it odd that none of the King children are married? I mean, goddamn, okay, you can have one nigga cut loose when the thing ain't married and stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's normal, have somebody in the family that ain't married. Well, I'm not married either, but I am married on the spiritual African way. So I am married. But I'm talking about no mate, nothing. Two damn niggas. You know, this other king, man, either he could be a great speaker, or he could be the biggest playboy this side of hell. The youngest one, Dexter King. Now, who the hell wouldn't go with damn Dexter King? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Bring it on.
I mean, outside of being Martin Luther King's son, hell, he could have looked like damn Muddy Gutty, fucking wimpy hot dog man, and still got a string of women. But I'm talking about a nigga that looked decent. I mean, this motherfucker ain't no slow leak in the looks department. So I'm pointing out, look, now let's look at this thing all fair. Either you're gonna have a nice, beautiful wife or whatever the deal is, or you're gonna have a string of goddamn women. But I'm thinking it's kind of odd, you know, for all y'all in y'all late 30s, early 40s. He's in his late 30s. He's probably my age, about 38. And none of them married. You see what I'm saying? You see, that's all by design.
This is bear witness on people breeding that way. I remember 5 or 6 years ago, even for people that are not conscious, most people watch sports. Well, here we are at NBC. It's 12:30. Jimmy Greek. They're talking about
right.
why black athletes are so fast. He said, well, they were bred that way.
They were bred that way.
This is 12:30 in the afternoon. You got Ahmad Rashad, a respected, supposed to be, man of sports. He's going to sit up there and say, well, of course they're faster than most Caucasians and other races because they were bred that way to be fast and strong. Everybody just looked at him.
Right. He got in a little trouble, but there's some merit. There's some merit based on that. Because we understand that the sports thing is the entire slave system all over again. You can trade it. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like Dawood said, organized homosexuality. You know, and when you really think about football, it is something deep about you putting your hands between a damn motherfucker ass to get a ball. A brown ball at that.
A brown, big brown ball.
Like a big turd. Now wait a minute. I can see if you go, here's the play, we're gonna hand it off. And that will be your traditional play. But to put your hands up under a nigga's ass to get some dookie, that's some major shit when you think about it. But the point is we're talking about this breeding. You see what I'm saying? This is the real, and in so many words, we can say that this entire project with black people being professionals on down to being street people is a proper breeding. A proper breeding. We know now that the bombs in Atlanta are manufactured. Because like I told you before, I went where the homeless are and they got food stacked up to the ceiling. As a matter of fact, in '95, I was a vegetarian then, and we had a whole freezer full of tofu. We got from the homeless shelter. Because we had a brother that was from the homeless shelter, and he would come by the house, and we would take him to the homeless shelter, and while we was there, they'd say, come on in, man, we got all this food. They had food stacked up to the ceiling. We had bread that got molded because we couldn't eat it all. They got just that much food for the homeless and stuff. And this ain't talking about all the soup lines and all this stuff. So all these people out here you see on the street, those are professionals. But my point is, when you see them, they'll always have the professional con men. But what we're talking about, when you see hundreds of them, they're all black, that's because they're breeding certain aspects of society. We got to have so many of these, we got to have so many of these, and we got to have so many of these. You see what I'm saying? Now, I swear to God, I saw this thing. There's a movie called, there's a movie called Harrison Bergeron, Bergeron. Did you see this thing? There's a movie called Harrison Bergeron. Sean Austin, he played the movie Rudy, and the movie Christopher Plummer. Yeah, pass that up. This shit is amazing. This movie is the greatest Illuminati movie ever put. I saw this thing last night. Let me show you something. I'll pass it around in a minute. I saw this thing last night. They put it step by step. Laid this thing out on how black people, how they got America, period. They got this thing laid out. There's a section in here where they're talking about, now this is interesting. There's a section in here where they're talking about if you have a certain talent, they will handicap you. The key is to never let your talent get to an advanced level. If you have in this movie, if you're smart, they have these little things they got on your head. You have to wear these at all times. And if you're smart, it's reversed in the society. If you're smart, you get applauded in the society. Well, in here, if you're dumb, you get applauded. And so when you pass, if you get certain things right, you flunk. If you get certain things wrong, you pass. You see, so one guy is very smart, so they have to go and tighten up these electro things on his head to make him dumber. And so they even had a guy tap dancing, but he had this thing on and he was hipping and skipping and shit handicapped, and his shit fell off, and he was all happy because he could really do it. And the guy said, look, he's happy. And so when he was so elite, and so when he went to work for the government, they said, we started handicapping the talented. So make them lesser than what they were, because we want to have a control society where everybody's the same. And if everybody's the same, we can control them You see what I'm saying? Because individualism leads to greater ideas as well as it leads to anarchy and all the other stuff they gave. They said, so what they said, we started it from a sports figure. We started it from a sports figure about, because this was when in like 2020 something, 2053. And they said we started it from a sports figure from the late 1990s. So we started it from the latter part of the late 19th century, late 20th century. And they said this sports figure called Michael Jordan. We retired him. He retired. Then came back and made millions and kicked ass. This is what they said. They said that he retired, then to come back to kick ass. Now, this is the kick. The movie was made in 1994. Michael Jordan retired fall of 1993. He didn't come back until the spring of 1996. So how in the fuck did these people know 2 years earlier that he's going to come back and kick ass? And when he came back the first year, he didn't win the championship. The next 2 years, they won the championship. Do you understand? It's the same thing on what Alexander Haig was telling Nixon, you need to resign, and Nixon was saying, and Mr. Iran-Contra, Mr. Iran-Iraq, miss this, and he gave him a 10-year radiance of shit that was going to go on in the future, and he said, I'm going to miss all that. Because, you know, he was trying to become president forever. See what I'm saying? So my point here is this is the point I'm trying to make. If the movie came out in 1994, these movies are made about a year before, anywhere from 6 months before. So how is it that he can be retiring? And the same time he's retiring, they're making a movie talking about how he's going to retire, how he's going to come back, and how he's going to kick ass and win the last 2 championships he won. That's amazing. You can't get around it. I mean, it says 1994. They made the video in 1995. He still hadn't come back when the damn video was released. You see what I'm saying? Same as like I said, when you get the movie Natural Born Killers, came out in the August of 1994. But they got O.J. Simpson as one of the murderers at the end of the movie. And he hadn't even gone to trial yet. His wife had only been dead a month. How you gonna put him at the end of the movie as one of the serial killers up against with Charles Manson and shit? And he hadn't even gone to preliminary trial yet. This is amazing shit. You're gonna take a movie, this man it's like I go out and kill somebody tonight. And a week later a movie comes out having me as one of the serial killers of the 20th century. And I haven't even gone to court yet. You know what I'm saying? It's like the movie The Chase. And this movie goes into all the stuff, and in the movie they show how they dumb you down based on dumbass TV shows. They say, oh, that's too smart. You got to take that out. That's thought-provoking. So they said, no, take that out. It's got to be stupid shit, basically, to keep the people dumb. And even when the brother exposed it, he exposed the thing in the movie. 99.9% of all the people couldn't give a shit. They did not even get it. That's the same, they got a movie out called Insider. It's a real movie, Insider, about the guy exposed the cigarette company. You think that stops some people from smoking? His ass is out of job, woman done left him and shit. He ain't got nothing, got a movie deal. He ain't got nothing, but yet he's suffered all these years and people still smoking. So basically you can't, it's foolish that I'm doing something for the American public. Shit, the American public, this is what he says on the damn movie. In the movie, they say the public is the one that makes the decision on how we get this erratic behavior and how we penalize you. So they started killing people for illegal traffic turns. executing their ass on TV.
That's right.
He say, no, the public wants this to be done. And that's what George Carlin say. Say it ain't the politicians. It's the damn people ain't shit. Shit in, shit out.
Yep.
The public is fucked up. You see, this is one of the greatest movies. Harrison Bergeron, B-E-R, I guess that's it, Bergeron, B-E-R-G-E-R-O-N. Bergeron. Sean Austin and Christopher Plummer. All in the movie. I mean, it's amazing. You see, so now, but let me go back to this particular point I'm trying to make. Then we go for libation. This is major. You don't think it's major, but it's major. When they announced about Martin Luther King's killer. Now remember in '97 they found the gun was messed up. They did, and they had all the stuff before James already died. They wait till the man died, and then all of a sudden the court gonna come in and say it was a conspiracy. Well, hell, they was talking about this in '97. They was talking about this as far back as '88. They had certain inquiries in this thing. They had inquiries on it in '78. And yet you're going to wait weeks, about what, a couple of days before the millennium to come out with this. Now, it's very cheap. They announced that. Same time, that's interesting. Same time, they announced about the Martin Luther King thing, because it was the next morning everybody was talking about it. They announced the same day that they announced the Martin Luther King thing. In LA, they was announcing that they found Biggie Smalls killer.
Yes. That was weird.
The same day.
They had everything.
Say it's a police officer that just so happens to be in jail now. They shot him. Well, he's black too, right? A black police officer that just so happened to be in jail for bank robbery is the killer. Like, oh, come on, man. If it was a police officer, you do that shit the night after it.
That's right.
But it's all a part of a system. Programming. Meanwhile, they just released the book. It's in Borders Bookstore and Barnes and Nobles now. The Rise and Fall of Elijah Muhammad. It's called Messenger. The Rise and Fall of Elijah Muhammad. And this is the second book to come out on him hardback in a year, but this one is detailed. I mean, they pulling out all the stops on this. They got even pictures of this mysterious master Marad. They got 5 and 6 different pictures of this thing. But my point is this, the rise and fall, first of all, Elijah Muhammad didn't fall.
That's right.
They tell you that the nation got bigger after Malcolm's death.
That's right.
And they was importing, we was talking about, they introduced America to whiting fish. The American public and stuff didn't know nothing about whiting fish. Right, and it was basically a Japanese fish. And he was importing them whiting fish, and now whiting fish is standard for most elite places and black establishment, but even white places because whiting fish is one of the few fishes that don't have the bone. And they can use it for every damn thing. Half that seafood shit and them fish sticks and all that stuff, they deal with the whiting. And Elijah Muhammad is the one that produced that. And all the imports and stuff, but my point is, so he didn't fall. He stayed until he died. But they got this thing out, so all this is strategic. Meanwhile, they got this thing happening in Atlanta. Same time this was going on Sunday, this past Sunday. They go and take this black man, duct tape his ass, feet, and his ankles and his cuffs, and duct tape him and throw him in the Chattahoochee River down there.
Damn.
The only reason why he didn't drown, he was in the service and he knew how to relax his muscles and float. And then he found, and some 2 white boys found him. He had almost hypothermia was setting in. And he had a note, a note that was strapped to him saying that we're gonna kill niggas on January 31st. So at first, they was like, this could just be some thing for the Millennium Group. They got on the damn radio that Tuesday night, because he was quiet about it, and Monday it only came out a little bit now. But the day that they broke the Tuesday, when they broke the King thing, the Biggie thing, and this big thing is going on, that night they got on there and they were saying, this is a sick joke and all shit. The white supremacist groups from all over the damn county start calling in saying this shit is real.
That's right.
We killing motherfucking niggas on January 31st.
Right.
They was coming, man. They was calling from all over. They got email from all the white supremacist groups in the country. And they was like, no, this shit is real. Don't try to cover this up. We killing niggas on the 31st. Y'all gotta go for what the hell y'all know. And the conversation was on with white people was calling and saying, y'all niggas got guns? Are y'all scared? These crackers is coming for y'all. So the conversation was not based on, you want to do this and all this nonviolent shit. That's what it was early that morning. At night, they was like, y'all niggas need to prepare yourself. And white people was calling in saying, y'all better have, and one guy said, shit. Let them come. Let them come. You see. But they were saying, they had all these white supremacist groups calling, and this is connected all over the country. You see. Meanwhile, all this stuff is going down for the millennium. Now, the key is with the Martin Luther King thing is, if they can distract people, they can harness a certain amount of latent energies. And all right, this is the way, you're right, this is the way that the damn white man is deciding some things are going down. What I'm saying is I'm hoping that they come out and start, I don't know, breaking some houses and shoot some grandmamas in the head. I don't give a fuck.
Come on.
Let's get it on, man.
Come on, yeah, get it on.
Because the only way you're going to get, and that's what we're going to deal with today also, too, because the only way these powers are going to be unleashed is up against a traumatic situation. Because it's not the white people that's doggone zombies, it's black people.
That's right.
You see, so I welcome this. You see, I welcome this when you take 10 years to try to kill us all, you see, covertly, and now this stuff is going down. You see, but they are very serious about this and it's not just Atlanta. You see what I'm saying? Because see, I'm weary about any time these radio stations, things happen every day and the radio stations don't report it, but all of a sudden early that morning and late that night they've had these talks. You see what I'm saying? So I know then that in actuality that they are planning something. Because maybe, hopefully, the white boy got to go for what he knows. You see what I'm saying? He has to go for what he knows. Like the comet, it was supposed to appear in November. Comet Lee, and then they still to this day haven't told anybody about it. Not saying that the Comet Lee is not up there. You see what I'm saying? Not saying that it's not up there, but they still haven't told anybody about it. You see what I'm saying? So, so I'm saying, whatever the deal is, to go for what, it's time to go for what we know. And so I'm hoping that, see, most niggas are shaking in their boots because they don't want nothing to happen. I understand that basically maybe the white boy has to initiate this. Well, you know, in the book, Leave a Null and Psychonaut, the Introduction to Chaos Magic, there's a chapter in there where he says, we're going to need this chaos magic, which is basically melanin magic. When we are locked up behind the fence, in barbed wire fence, because some elite group done got our ass pinned up and getting ready to doggone slaughter us. So he says, well, basically, this is our last hope as far as being able to fight against them. But this magical system, just like the papyrus from the book Kundalini for a New Age, in that book where they said these latent devices that are in the body coming from the Sanskrit material, these latent devices that is in the body will come online when the race, and they're not talking about nothing but ancient black people, are threatened with annihilation. So therefore it was the government's policy to kill you off covertly and through deception by making you think everything is all right. You see what I'm saying? So my point is I'm welcoming this. I'm hoping it's going to go down. But these supremacist groups say we will assure you that we're going to go down with this. You see what I'm saying? You see? We getting down with this thing. You see what I'm saying? So whatever the deal is, let's go for the shit. We can't call ourselves the people of God. You understand what I'm saying? Or the gods, however you want to have it. You see what I'm saying? And the motherfuckers is creeping up on you and stuff and you not doing nothing. You see what I'm saying? Meanwhile, I would much rather him just come all out and start kicking ass and we can really show our powers than for him to use the deception he's been using for the last 30-something doggone years are just turning black people against black people, and all kind of crazy stuff like this. So it's very interesting. But see, there's some things we're going to get into today and all, because it's interesting because we're tapping into this depth, and I found this at Borders. I found this at Borders the other day, Ancient Egyptian Books of the Afterlife. Now, one of the keys here is, this is by Eric Horning, Horning. Now, it's interesting that this book will come out in 1999, because E. Wallace Budge put out a book, The Egyptian Heaven and Hell. They have a little small one. Then they put out the other one from like Budge's book from the early 1900s, and they put it out in 1996. But unfortunately about the Budge's books is that he didn't know what the hell he was doing. He was just basically just translating shit. He wasn't in there even explaining it and stuff. So basically, it's a whole bunch of garbage you can't read. This this is translated from German by a guy by the name of David Lawton, and the guy book Eric Horning. But this is one of probably the first texts that we're getting on all of this stuff on the afterlife, which is interesting that we're dealing with at this particular time. And this just came out. This was not by accident. This just came out. And number one, these white people are putting it out to try to get some kind of bridge or a gateway to save them in actuality. But this shit is for us.
That's right.
Because number one, the only people that can partake into this is the original people. It is very key that we understand that at this particular time and all. At this particular time, and this book just came out also too. A little help on 5-finger discount. So that just came out also too. I advise you with a disclaimer that you don't try this shit. Your ass will be up in the jailhouse and stuff. Also too, we want to give you this too, because this sister is probably, I usually try to give the best psychics I can, and psychics fall by the wayside, but this sister is probably one of the best ones. So for the people that didn't get this, I'm recommending, if you have any problems, to call this particular sister here and all, and she's very cheap and reasonable. The number is, her name is Queen Mother, Chief High Priestess, Dr. Oshun Dara Nefertiti. So just say Dr. Oshun Dara Nefertiti. And the number is 313-863-5628. 313-863-5628. Tell her Bobby recommended her, I recommended her to you. And she has an additional services upon request. So I guess this would be one too, because I'm requesting the thing. 1-800-641-9146. 1-800-641-9146. Excellent psychic. Excellent psychic. So right now that she's dealing with, her and another sister out of Florida is dealing with this nationalization. So this nationalization is based on this Moorish nationalization. And I told her, I said now, because I think she's helping out the sister from Florida, and the sister is saying, we need to be nationalized. And I'm like, well, as far as I'm concerned, in this, the white boy will give you a nationalization. He'll give you whatever the hell you want. So what, you got nationalization. That don't mean that the motherfucker gonna feed you.
Okay.
He gonna make your life any better. Okay. At this particular time, he's capable of giving niggas what they want now. See, that's what this whole that's what this book was about. Let me get this book. That's what this particular book was about. That's the whole reason behind this Newsweek magazine. I think I told you about this last time I was here. This Newsweek magazine, good news for black people, good news about black America, but why many blacks aren't celebrating. Now, why would they put this shit out in 1999? They get ready to give niggas what they want. Just as long as you don't raise up with some stuff inside of you to kill him. We're gonna get into that today. We isolated this shit. This is all about science. This issue is June 7th, 1999. Good news about black America, but why aren't black people celebrating? So what? See, it's all based on mind control. You see what I'm saying? All based on mind control. Let's see. It is the best time ever for Black America. Crime is down, jobs and income is up. Some bullshit. You see, white kids choose African American as their heroes, but not everyone is celebrating. So why would they put this out when we know damn well right now and shit, you know, niggas' lights is getting cut off, man acting like a damn fool, all kind of crazy shit. You see what I'm saying? Women acting like a fucking fool. Know what I'm saying and all? You see what I'm saying? Beautiful women dying all this, boy, they turn into the other sisters on their ass and shit. You know, this is real big going down right now, you know. I mean, all kind of crazy stuff is going on, but why would they put this type of book out? Because they are willing to give black people what they want, so as long as black people don't kill them. But it's going to have to be done through anger. That's one of the keys. I got this, so we ain't talking about, we're not talking about some stuff that this brother is making up some shit to be desperate. We're going to go into this today, and it's going to have to be done for anger. Now, it cannot be done to anger on the people out in the street, because that leads to emotion. But to a person that's an adept, that has gone through a certain amount of information, and because you are the certain people, you can harness this particular energy through anger, frustration.
Yes.
Let's put it this way. It's not like the movie Ghostbusters Part 2. Go rent that movie. They just re-released them both. Go rent both of them. A lot of shit in the Ghostbusters. The Ghostbuster Part 2, they had this slime. And when the hatred, the anger, the frustration, and all that shit in New York started manifesting in the air, this slime started coming up and manifesting. It was going to eat the whole city up. That is what that melanin is inside of you. It strives off decay. It's all, we got to reverse this shit. This is beautiful stuff. It's all scientific. You know, I've been reading these alchemical books and all these stuff, and these white people are very clear when they say, no, there's two sides. And basically, they are allowed to write these books so they can direct people to not turn to a dark side of it and manifest some type of energy for some type of everyday life, just feeling good shit. But they warn you not to go to the other side, because the other side is not meant for their ass. But this is our element. And I'm going to give you some stuff in the Rig Vedic materials and stuff like this, where I'm not talking about some stuff that I'm making up. I'm talking about in the Rig Vedic materials, in some of the texts that we don't get out of ancient Kemet. It is the only way we can break this shit. It's no different than the damn Matrix when they kicked ass in the Matrix. He says, as long as the Matrix exists, our people will never be free. See what I'm saying? Our people will never be free. Very key. But this is why, so they talking about the Moors, they had a big meeting yesterday in Chicago on a national level with all kind of big time niggas and crackers on reparation. This shit was, I'm not, you know, we've had all these reparations. This is one of the legitimate ones they had. They had it yesterday. Now, if the white boy passing out money, don't be no fucking fool. I'm gonna do like you. I'm gonna take your money, like a white man. He'll take your money and still kill your ass. That's how we do this shit. We take your money, we go buy a damn wedding dress, and then shoot you in the head and let the blood drip on the damn wedding dress.
That's what I'm talking about.
Reverse the shit. So if the white boy passing out money, we're gonna do like you. He's able to doggone set you out and still kill you. You see, or except, yo, you know, we gonna do like you, we gonna reverse this shit. We speak with a fucking forked tongue now. But the shit is that he's gonna start paying people off because he's scared.
No mercy, though.
He's scared and he has the masses of the people. Right. So he's scared, so this is very key. So they give you Martin Luther King. And what and they knew the slave people, what these niggas start doing across Georgia and all, we just thinking for New Day. Oh, we just so happy. You happy, bitch, you knew this shit in 1968 and they killed this man.
That's right.
Are you an idiot? You happy because the white man said, oh yeah, we conspired against you and we kept the shit for damn 30 years. That ain't nothing to be happy about. You're supposed to be mad. You know what I'm saying? And you're supposed to be mad. This man tells you, look. Then they say, oh, it happened from the highest branches of our government. No, fuck that.
That's right.
These are niggas talking. oh, this was wonderful. We're going to change history. Motherfucker, you changed history when they shot the nigga in the head. Every asshole in China knew that the damn government killed him. Your stupid ass, if you knew it. That's the thing to get me. We know it. We talk about it all the time. How many times you done heard, well, he spoke out on Vietnam, they killed him?
That's right.
You've been hearing this shit since 1968.
That's right.
Now all of a sudden the white boy come up and say, oh, by the way, it was a conspiracy. Now all of a sudden we thanking them. But they already know they bred us to behave a certain way.
Thank you, Master, for telling us the truth.
Telling us the truth. And we're going into the year 2000 and we can't even stand up on our own and say, you know, too little, too fucking too late.
That's right. Too late. That's right.
You know?
Right.
This is crazy stuff. So they already know, but see, they're going to give us that because it's all about the healing of America. They've been talking about this shit.
Yeah.
We got to go on and the healing. They got these old Negro leaders. They got these Negro leaders talking about the healing can begin now.
Oh, hell no.
I'm fucking Coretta Scott King. They call it, the white people call her Coretta King. She gets paid off all that shit. Coretta King. That's what the crackers call her down there. You know, professional widow. The white boy said Coretta King. She getting paid for it. You know, this motherfucker talking about, oh, now it can be closure. Yes, you. Oh, who are you? Are you a human being?
No.
You gotta wait till the cracker close some shit for you to have closure? And now the healing can begin. Oh shit!
I feel up her ass.
A motherfucker conspire against you. Right. Right. This is some crazy stuff. But see what it is they coming about Tucker. They still haven't opened up the annals of slavery.
That's right.
And they haven't told you about the Moors. See, the Moors is an advanced thing. Because to tell you that all the great white people, what they have done was based on the Moors.
That's right.
You know, they got a book out called a Khazar Dictionary. Did I give you the name of that thing?
Yeah.
You didn't write down the name of you don't have it on you, do you? It's a novel called a Khazar Dictionary.
How you spell it?
Don't ask me how to spell Khazar. There's a K on it, I think, ain't it? It's a K. Khazar Dictionary. And in this particular book, they give you all the stuff based on what went down with the Moors in Spain and the connection with the Jews. But what they do is they put it in a novel. That's the kick. If we put it in a novel, we can de-authenticate it so you can't argue about it. And we can teach our people. You see what I'm saying? That's the same way with this. You can't take this to Harvard and argue based on the information in here. Because it's supposed to, oh, that's a comic book. But then again, you're supposed to know what time it is. It's not to prove to white people who already know what time it is about your ass. It's for you to learn your information. So this is comic book on the Moors and stuff. You're supposed to get, there's a whole series, about 10 books on all this stuff. And they're dropping all the science on all the stuff in history. If you get the whole series of this doggone Cribulas or Hermes, they dealing with all this shit up in there. Right in the comic book store. So they got a book called the Khazar Dictionary, national bestseller, New York Times. And it's dropping all the stuff about the Moors and the doggone Jews. But they put it in that novel form, and that's the way they keep niggas from, because most niggas want to run and ask the white man about it. You see what I'm saying? Because we are inferior. We don't validate nothing until the white boy says it's all right to validate stuff. You see what I'm saying? We don't validate nothing until the white boy says it's all right to validate stuff. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, there's some crazy stuff going on.